Hello, I am Heidi Ricks. I am the Dementia Program Coordinator.
And my name is Jenny West, and I'm the Community Educator at FamilyMeans. And we are here today from the Caregiving and Aging Department to bring you through a dementia-friendly at work training. So first off, I would like to say thank you very much to your employer for actually having us here today through this training around dementia education. We at FamilyMeans found it really important to start conversations and are asking businesses to become more dementia friendly in supporting the individuals that you serve each and every day. So today we will be learning about what actually dementia is, how dementia differs from normal aging and its warning signs. We're going to be looking at the dementia-friendly communication techniques that can work very nicely when you're engaging with your customers, as well as ways to maintain a person's dignity and to show them respect. Today we're going to actually look at what a dementia-friendly community is. The most important is that it's informed, safe, and respectful of individuals who are living with dementia, as well as for their family members. A community also provides those supportive options and services to actually meet that individual where they're at. And ultimately, a dementia-friendly community will actually foster and improve the quality of their life. So let's take a look at what a dementia-friendly community can look like. Starting off with an early diagnosis and quality care and support for the individual who has the dementia diagnosis, specialized memory loss services, dementia-aware and responsive client services, again, meeting them and empowering them to maximize their independence, welcoming and supportive spiritual environment, independent living and quality of life support, an emergency preparedness plan and response, and suitable transportation and public spaces. And lastly, the dementia-aware and responsive customer service, which you are receiving today. So we thank you for having us again. So let's look at really what is dementia. A dementia diagnosis is a loss of memory and other thinking abilities that is serious enough to interfere with activities of daily life. Again, it's the memory and other thinking abilities, and we're going to go a little bit deeper in the next few slides, but really want to make sure that you're aware that it's not only memory. There's a lot of other factors that involve in a dementia diagnosis, and we're going to break those down in a couple slides. Alzheimer's disease is a disease that you hear most often because it is the most diagnosed. We have the most research done around Alzheimer's, and we have the most education. And so it's important to know Alzheimer's disease does exist, but it's also important to know that there are many other types of dementias out there. And so really learning and understanding the diagnosis that you've been given is very important. It's also very important to know that dementia is not normal aging. Not everybody will receive a dementia diagnosis as they age. And so it's important to realize and break that myth.
Now we're going to go through just a few stats. And we often hear stats about how big this problem is. You might have heard it just out in the community that this is a big issue. And to start off with the stat that 99,000 Minnesotans age 65 plus, so people over the age of 65, are living with Alzheimer's, and that number is growing. Just to perhaps put it in a different perspective, if you're one of the people that needs to hear things a little differently, 1 in 10 people over the age of 65 have Alzheimer's. And Jenny was talking about different kinds of dementia. This is specifically talking about Alzheimer's because we have more of this data. And then as you age, 85 and older, then it changes. 3 in 10 have Alzheimer's. So you can see as we age, more people are diagnosed, but there's still 7 out of 10 that are not diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So we have to go along with that as well, that it is not normal aging. This is a big number that I think you'll be surprised about. 257,000 caregivers in Minnesota are caring for family members with Alzheimer's and the other dementias. We're adding the other dementias in here. 257,000. They might have friends, they might have family, neighbors even, that they are caring for. Older African Americans and Hispanics are proportionately more likely than older whites to have Alzheimer's and other dementias. There's many reasons that back this up. We're not going to go into that now. We don't have time. But the numbers that you saw previously, just for these populations, those numbers are going to be higher.
So dementia can affect one or more areas of our cognitive functioning. And this is really important to understand because we just learned a little bit more of the stats around Alzheimer's disease, but there are over 60 different diagnoses, and each diagnosis is different from the other. And so what I like to think about is if you've met one person with dementia, you've only met one person with dementia. Because every dementia is different. It can include these. Your judgment can certainly be affected. Whether you're still driving, maybe you are driving 45 in a 65 and you think you're the safest, but actually you could be more of an accident just waiting to happen. Your judgment is affected, decision making, and even the process of how you make your decisions. And here we see memory, which definitely can be affected, but not in every single dementia right away. Communication is also affected, and a lot of times we need more time to respond. And sometimes our society is a little too fast-paced, and we don't slow down. We're in too much of a rush. And one of the key elements is really being able to slow down and give that time to that individual who needs it. Your mood and personality can shift, whether that's an awareness or kind of a self-protecting mode of, I know something's going on, but I don't know what, but it can definitely change, as well as your visual perception. And this can be seen sometimes if your steps are carpeted and you don't see the depth of each step, or even in businesses like yours, if you have those welcome mats at the beginning of your doors, the black mats that are there to collect sand and snow, you may actually see individuals walking around those mats because they actually think that that's a hole. And they're not going to question, why is there a hole by this front door? They simply just walk around it. So really looking at and understanding a dementia diagnosis is different for each and every one. And the most important thing is getting as much education as you can about that specific diagnosis. So next we're going to be looking at kind of what are those normal aging signs that we may become fearful, and what is actually maybe a true dementia warning sign. And the first is sometimes forgetting names or appointments, but then remembering it later. This is very common for all of us. We may remember somebody's name an hour later and, oh yes, that's what it was. That is normal. However, the dementia warning sign is that memory loss will disrupt your daily life in the fact that you may not be troubled that you don't remember their name, or the fact that you're calling them a different name because you don't know their name. The next one is being confused about the day of the week, but recalling it later. We all, as I had said before, we're busy. Sometimes this happens, but we can pick it up. We're like, oh yeah, that's right. Today is Wednesday. So then the dementia warning sign is confusion with time or place. An individual may take a nap for only 15 minutes, but then wake up and believe that it's the following day because they had fallen asleep. So that confusion can be there. Another normal aging sign is misplacing things from time to time and retracing your steps to find them. For the dementia warning sign, it's misplacing things and losing the ability to retrace your steps. A good example of this is if you have ever lost your car keys. Oftentimes when you find them, you realize, oh yes, this is what happened. This is how my keys got over here. That is very normal. When it becomes a dementia warning sign, it's asking yourself more questions. Well, that's really strange. How did my keys get here? Because I've always put them somewhere else. And so not being able to retrace your steps. Again, as Heidi had said, dementia is not normal aging. It does happen. And so we just want to be aware of some of those signals that may happen, and then begin having a conversation with your family as well as with your doctor. As you can see, some of these examples are quite similar to one another, and so being aware of the differences is really important for your health as well as the others that you care for and the customers that you serve. So we are going to go through the 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's from the Alzheimer's Association. The first one is memory changes that disrupt daily life. The second one is challenges in planning or solving problems. In the video that you saw before our education, you saw the woman running errands in her community, and it really took her all day to complete those tasks. Something that you or I may be able to multitask or do several things very quickly. Somebody living with a dementia diagnosis, it may take longer for them to complete that task, and they need to have more time. The third, difficulty completing familiar tasks. In the video, you saw her at the bank trying to take money out, and she was denied access because of putting in the wrong PIN number too many times. How many times has that happened to us? For somebody who has a dementia diagnosis, that really could have wrecked her entire day because she wasn't able to recall that PIN number. The fourth is confusion with time or place. And the fifth, trouble understanding visual images and spatial relationships. Number 6, new problems with words in speaking or writing. In the video, you saw the woman having difficulty asking for help while getting on the bus, at the bank, as well as in the grocery store when she was looking for chicken cheese. She clearly had it on her list as chicken space cheese, but as she communicated to the woman, she was calling it chicken cheese, which caused confusion. Number 7 is misplacing things or losing the ability to retrace steps. In the very beginning of the video, as you saw, she put her tea in the fridge and her milk in the cupboard after she was done before setting off for her day. Number 8, decreased reasoning or poor judgment. Number 9, withdrawal from work or social activities. In the video, I do like to point out, though, that she really was determined to complete her tasks for the day, and she put herself out in the community doing the things that she needed to do. And number 10, changes in mood and regular personality. It may have been difficult to hear in the beginning of the video, but the first thing she said when she opened up her door, she said, "It isn't raining. This is good." And so even having rain interfere with some of the errands could add a lot more stress to somebody who's living with a dementia diagnosis as they continue to try to work and do functions of daily living in their community while trying to remain as independent as possible. So these are just the 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's. Again, very similar to what is normal or what is normal aging versus what are those dementia signals. So something just simply to be aware of and watching yourself or those who you are caring for or serving in your community. I do want to also bring up kind of the skills that remain intact for an individual who is living with a dementia diagnosis. As we have stated, a dementia diagnosis is years and years of progression. It doesn't happen overnight. And so we need to meet these individuals who are living with a dementia where they're at. We need to empower them and build up the skills that they do have. Whether they are inclined to playing music or have a passion about music, that is a great skill that continues on in their dementia journey. Their sense of humor is often kept. Whether they were kind of jokesters, that personality part typically is not lost, as well as their ability to read nonverbal language. This actually increases for somebody who is living with dementia because they may not be looking at the words that you are saying. They are embracing your body language, your tone, and how you are saying things. So it actually heightens their awareness of the nonverbals that you are communicating with an individual. Sense of touch. that opportunity to engage and bring that person to your attention is really important, as well as their social graces. Again, that personality stays with that individual. We need to remember that this dementia diagnosis is a disease, but yet the person is still an individual living with this disease.
Here's a quote by Maya Angelou that helps us look at the person with dementia, how they deal with loss of memory and their feelings. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So that explains that we still have to hold on to that compassion. When you meet someone with dementia, you need to take that compassion when you're dealing with them in your place of business, out in the community. And these are ways that we can do that. 10 tips to communicate with that person living with dementia. These are easy things that you can apply today. Number 1, minimize environmental distractions. You will notice in the video there was a lot of noise, a lot of busyness, people walking here and there. If you have a chance to move that person to the side, talk with them in a quieter environment, that is really helpful. Number 2, make eye contact for that engagement. Be able to look them face to face. They're going to be able to understand the words and that tone that you're giving them. Number 3, use short, simple sentences. Not a long explanation, but a few words, short sentences. Number 4, ask simple yes/no questions. That helps a person be able to answer. Number 5, be specific as possible. If you can say details in short, simple sentences, that's helpful. Number 6, that tone is so important. So talk in easygoing, pleasant manner. That will help to calm and ease the situation. 7, allow sufficient time for the person to respond. And this is not easy when we have people waiting in line, when we are in a busy place. So taking that time, if you're able to, and it may be longer than what you're used to, what you're comfortable with, and give them time to respond. Number 8, break up those tasks into smaller steps. Maybe start with number 1. What is the first thing you need from this person? If that's in a question or an idea. Number 9, routines and structures can be calming. Keeping that in mind of if you see this person on a more regular basis, how you can help them with that. Number 10, stay away from specific dates or answers. If you can provide that for them, if you see that they're having difficulty with a detail, then maybe there's another way you can find that out for them. But if you keep asking and they're not able to give you that, that's going to cause some stress. Now we're going to talk about the compassionate action, how you can put that to work with a description of how that is in real life. To offer choices, you give simple options to choose from, and either or. So either red or blue. This gives that person a little bit of control over the situation. Remain calm. Take a deep breath. Do not argue or try to reason. Sometimes keeping that calm can help that other person also be able to answer and solve the problem that you have. Respond to feelings. Help describe in words how they might be feeling. I see that you seem frustrated. You may be angry about this. Those are ways that you can describe their feelings. Agree and engage. So statements that begin with yes and, they go a long way. Yes, and I see that you're going to need to do this next. Create space. Distance yourself to regain composure and lower stress. So if things are getting heated with emotions, if the environment changes all of a sudden, you might want to go to a quieter place or create space, take a breath, come back. Finally, to reassure, to remind the individual that they are safe, because a person with dementia, often that stress makes them feel very insecure. So if we can continually reassure, that helps.
So in conclusion, with our Dementia Friendly at Work training, I'd like to summarize that supporting people in your community is so very important, and the actions that you do each and every day can create a positive experience in your business setting. It can also help people remain independent and connected in your community and engage individuals with dignity and respect and be compassionate to all. With a little bit of understanding, grace, and patience, we can all do a lot together to support individuals who are living with a memory loss diagnosis. Thank you again for having FamilyMeans present Dementia Friendly at Work training for your company. We do realize that every company is different, and the scenarios that you see each and every day are different and unique to your own business. We are always happy to brainstorm and discuss any questions that you may have from your company. So please don't hesitate to call us. We are here to help. We have a lot of other programs here at FamilyMeans. We are here to support the community. Thank you.